Good morning, and welcome back to the 2014 Panel and Engineered Lumber International Conference and Expo in the Omni Hotel at the CNN Center in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. This is our second live broadcast of the morning, and this broadcast will be sponsored by Henkel. We're very lucky to be joined today by Henkel's own Chris Whalen. Chris, it's good to see you this morning.
Good. Glad to be here.
Chris, can you tell us a little bit about what your company does and why it's important for y'all to be here today?
Henkel is the largest adhesive manufacturer in the world, and we're the global leader in ecological one-part polyurethane adhesives for panel construction. So it was important to be here and meet with other industry professionals.
Chris, tell us why a face-to-face event like this is very important in a day and age where social media and emails and online things seem to rule the world.
Well, the lumber industry is one of the good industries to be involved in due to the sort of face-to-face contact. It's a green industry. It's one where people are important.
Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having us here.
Our next guest is going to be Dan Schell. He's been sitting in on the keynoter sessions this morning. Dan, how are you doing today?
Okay, just fine. Yes, Jay, I've just come from the keynote sessions. 4 great speakers, led off by Roger Tutterow, who's a professor of economics at Mercer University here in Atlanta. He does a real good job. I think this is the 3rd time he's spoken at PELICE, and very entertaining, and it's always great to have an economist who will make fun of economists on the panel. But the big question still remains is, as he mentioned, we're in economic recovery. Technically, the economy has been recovering since 2009, although it's hard to depending on where you are in the country, you might not even realize that. And he's mentioned that we're looking for a surge of economic activity for about the last 18 months, but employment hasn't quite recovered like they have in past recessions. And also housing is not recovered, anywhere near recovered, but it's definitely on its way. There's very good signs out there. Looking ahead to the rest of this year, in 2014, Tutterow says he looks for more broad-based growth throughout the economy, although at the end of 2013, there was a period of where inventories in all industries tended to rise a little bit sluggish, which he says for several reasons, maybe the weather a little bit, but we're going to sort of work through that for the first half of 2014, and he looks for a lot stronger growth at the end of the year, with manufacturing gradually creeping back, which is a really good economic driver for housing and that kind of thing. Employment, we're still way down on the employment and jobs picture, but it's coming back. He said it's just sort of a slower, more sluggish recovery this time. And he also gives a political outlook, and he said it's easy this year because it's an election year, and which means really that not much of anything's going to happen to hurt anybody, which is really a good thing when you're talking about politicians. And he says that politicians will do what they've always done in election years: pander to the base, kick the can down the road. And although he did say there's a very good chance for the Republicans to retake the Senate this year. Our second keynoter was Joe Andrews. He's general manager of Richmond Plywood in British Columbia. It's a really neat employee-owned cooperative plywood mill, just basically almost in downtown Vancouver, British Columbia. And he gave a good presentation on the management structure, how the employees who actually own the plant work to form committees to manage the overall operations. Another keynoter following that was Kelly Shotbolt, who's president of Flakeboard, which is now part of Aralco, and he's a leader in the composite industry, MDF, particle board, and he noted though that industry is under a lot of fire. There's a lot of competition, a lot of issues. The biggest thing is their customer base, which is furniture companies, have just almost all moved offshore in the past 10 years or so, which has really hurt their sales, their revenues, and then you've got the whole housing and economic downturn that the U.S. has gone through in the past 5 to 6 years. Looking ahead, he looks to see maybe more consolidation among composite panel producers. He knows that the ones who will remain, who will survive, are really going to have to make more investments in their plants to compete better globally, probably looking for bigger plants, more automated, more high technology, and a need to really optimize the supply chain in composite panels to get as much efficiency and take as much of the slack out as possible, as ways to to rally the furniture side of the business is he said to look for ways that producers can help enhance new furniture designs, maybe more customization, and to embrace more automation technology, maybe in the warehouse, that kind of thing, which was a very good presentation. And Dean McCraw was the final keynote speaker this morning. He gave maybe the most provocative presentation of all that here at the PELICE, that looking at southern wood supply in the southeast U.S. And in a nutshell, he said that if you're a large log user, the near-term future looks good. Small logs, not so good for a variety of reasons. And really, it's what's happened in the South is I hate to go all Al Gore on you with an uncomfortable truth, but we really have to plant more trees, is what McCraw said. And what's happened is a variety of reasons. Some of the large vertically integrated companies have been broken up and dissolved. You don't have as many. We're sort of leaders in nurseries, seedlings, replanting. There's been some landowner assistance programs, seedling programs that have been discontinued. A lot of it is response to there was a lot of CRP timber that came onto the market in the past 20 years or so, but that's slowly going away. And really, he's mentioned that we've really got to address this if we're going to be able to serve all our current users of our southern forest, as well as that we're looking at new demands coming from energy producers, wood pellet producers, and hopefully there's enough acreage to supply it all. And really, because the South is so productive with timberland, the situation can be remedied relatively easily, but the whole industry has got to address it, or he thinks there'll be problems down the road. So it was a wide-ranging keynote session, really informative. The place was standing room only. There was 40 guys standing on the back wall there, couldn't find a seat. So really good keynote session, Jay.
All right, Dan, really appreciate the report.
All right, thanks a lot, Jay.
It's going to wrap up our second live broadcast of the morning from the Panel and Engineer Lumber Conference, International Conference and Expo in the Omni Hotel at the CNN Center in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Make sure and check back with us at noon Eastern Time for the third live broadcast of the morning. Until then, this is Jay Donnell signing off.